Well, we're now at the end of what has been a very full and an interesting day and very thought-provoking, I'm sure you'll agree. I'm joined now by the rest of the panel, and we're going to share with you some of the brief reflections that we have on today. And I'd like to introduce the panel to you, the program committee to you rather. Kate Davis, who you met earlier today, who is the Principal Lead Digital Pedagogy and Curriculum at the University of Southern Queensland. Roxanne Missingham, who is the University Librarian at ANU and a previous president of ALIA. And of course, Roxanne facilitated our session on artificial intelligence earlier. And Monica Zhenko, who's also been chairing some of the sessions this afternoon, who is the Director of Resources and Technology at Monash University and also a previous member of the ALIA board. So, Kate, I might cross to you first, and if you'd just like to share some of your reflections.
I'd like to just share one reflection really, which is the idea of how the mode for today's conference connects with the theme of access or control. I think it's been wonderful to have such a huge number of delegates with us for the conference. And, I confess to feeling a little bit sad this morning getting ready for the conference, not being in Sydney, but it's just been a wonderful day, and we have had such a range of amazing speakers with us, and part of that is by virtue of the fact that the online mode has opened it up to a bigger range of people. So for me, it's been a fantastic day, and the online experience has been just as good in different ways as the normal online experience in Sydney.
Thanks, Kate. And Monica?
Yes, I'm echoing Kate's thoughts as well about the online mode, but the powerful thing for me about the conference was really started before the conference and the launch of the provocations that came out from the Indigenous Sovereignties panel. For me, that really set the tone also for the thoughts about the conference and about recasting and retelling what collections are, who owns them, how they're described, and also recasting the centre as well, which is very much a theme from today's conference as well. And one of the most powerful of the questions for me came up from Nathan Sentence, who asked us to think about what happens when we let go of collections, when we let go of the ownership, so that it's not about us owning it. Collections, but in fact collections relating to Indigenous knowledge and Indigenous items, their cultural heritage, they should be available for people to burn, break or bury, and it's not our call.
Thank you, Monica. And Roxanne?
Mine was much on the same themes, but just 5 points. So I really thought Matthew Trinket saying we need to have a radical recasting of collections summarised the flavour of the way we were approaching the day. We were, if you like, walking the talk by having a radical recasting of ALIA information online, but he really encouraged us to again think about different ways to conceptualise the collection. The second is I've got a flavour really from most of the sessions today that we shouldn't think about collections as bounded in time. We had the maps from Kia that really took a new transition with multi-dimensionality, but a lot of the other work about data governance rights, again, is saying, well, don't be bounded by our time, think beyond the creation time of parts of the collection and reconceptualise what we're doing. The third point really comes back to whose knowledge is it? So if we go back to Kant, the creators should not be the controllers. And the owners should not be the controllers, as in the owners of the collection. So I think it's a real epistemological change that we're seeing in the way that we need to reflect on our custodianship integrated into those different creator, owner, executive, manager roles. The fourth point was technology, not as a driver, but as a facilitator, that we can actually, when we've unleashed our mind, we can then unleash things technically in new and different ways with partnerships. And the fifth really I took from Genevieve Bell about, we see an ecosystem, we define our little bits in the ecosystem, but really where are the gaps and where is the ordinary? So one of the places that I read very regularly is the scholarly kitchen, and I think that theme of being in the kitchen, having the discussions and saying, well, how does it matter in terms of the lived life, the small and the big, really emboldens us to be experimental in new and different ways. So those are my 5 points.
Thank you, Roxanne and Monica and Kate. Some, great conclusions for the day. I guess when I reflected on it earlier, there was two key things that I thought about, and one of them was really our role as a sector in influencing change. And to me, that came through in Rose's comments around metadata in records. Something like cataloguing can have so much influence on how people understand and acknowledge history and culture. And also Eric's discussion around libraries as centres of resilience. And I think the other point that that came through in his presentation about the importance of us having compelling stories of impact, and I think that goes across so much of our work as well. And one of the concluding thoughts that I had too was really our strength as a profession in our proactive willingness to engage beyond our sector. And I think that's what has really made today's conference so rich, is that we've brought people in from outside our sector to share their thoughts on the work that impacts on how we do work. And we're willing to access expertise, be challenged by others, and then consolidate that and make it relevant to our work. And to me, that was some of my thoughts around the day. So it's been fantastic to work with this program committee over the last 18 months. And we felt really proud to bring this program to you today. And unfortunately, we come to an end now to the actual program, but I do have some final announcements and acknowledgements to make. This was actually our first online conference for Information Online, which does sound a little bit weird, but I'm sure we're setting the scene for the future. And of course, I'd like to extend a special thank you to our platinum sponsor, AAAS Science, and our silver partner, Besi Publishing Services, Claravit, De Gruyter, EBSCO, Lucidia, Oxford University Press, Bibliotheca Informat, and McGraw-Hill for their generous support, and to all of our exhibitors who certainly made this a special experience. I know that I speak on behalf of the committee in extending an absolute huge thank you to the ALIA team. They've been outstanding in actually moving this to an online platform. Really acknowledge the leadership of Christina Granata and also to Caitlin Feeney. Can you imagine what it's like managing a speaker's room in a virtual conference? And Caitlin has done a fantastic job today. Don't forget that we will continue the conversation on Thursday and Friday with our perspective sessions, and you would have the details of those sessions. You can register for those. And in those sessions, you can share your reflections and certainly continue the conversation. So do come along to those. As we said during the day, the conference recordings will be available following the conference, and also the live scribe images that Devon has done an outstanding job of recording the discussions as well will be available in the next few days. So keep an eye on your emails on how to access those. You are invited to stay on with us for some of the virtual networking events. Thank you to Informat. I guess one of the highlights of any online conference is the conference dinner. So we've got a virtual conference dinner tonight, so continuing that theme. The details of all the networking events can be found in the networking tab on the left-hand side of the screen. So just choose the event that you'd want to join and click on that link. I think Monica mentioned a few times, and also Roxanne, around ALIA is looking at running some more of these sessions, but some half-day sessions coming up are planned for this year. And the first one will be on leadership in around April and May. So stay tuned for those ideas, and we'll be having those as virtual conferences as well. So to finalise the day, I thank you for your participation. It's fantastic to think that we had nearly 3,000 members of our sector online today enjoying this conversation, and certainly do encourage you to continue to have that conversation. So for now, Galunga Malgan, enjoy the evening. Thank you. Thank you, Monica, Kate and Roxanne. Thank you.